Microphones 1, 2. Ethics Pod is active.
Amazing. Welcome everyone to Ethics Pod, a deep dive into the turbulent world of anti-corruption. We hope to interview a lot of interesting guests, have amazing discussions and spill a few cups of tea. Not literally though, not your cup, not my cup.
Definitely not my cup.
But we're very concerned about anti-corruption, anti-graft. The name itself, by the way, look at that beautiful logo.
Ethics Pod shining
Pod.
bright.
So this name in itself is self-explanatory. We're trying to focus on things that, give us life. We need to do better as a nation.
Yes.
But it's not every time we point fingers at the government. We need to look inward. You need to look at yourself.
Definitely.
I need to look at myself and say, okay, look, hands up. This is where I need to change. This is what I can do better. And so, like the name implies, we're going to be discussing anti-corruption things. Which brings me to something that was burning in my mind when we were on our way here.
Okay.
Right? There's fuel scarcity.
Yes, definitely. I've been going through hell because of that. So, go ahead.
So, how did you get fuel last time?
I had to buy black markets, and the hike in price, the amount, I almost screamed what exactly is the problem? Why is it this difficult? And before we even go ahead and blame some of these black market people, they are extorting us. This is an opportunity for us to just make the most money we can out of this from these people.
So this is my own issue. This is my own standpoint. Obviously, we needed to get to the studio today. Obviously, we need to go around. We need to do things. We need to earn our livelihood. Fuel is important. Now, at some point, how thin is that line, do you think, between I need to get to work and doing what is morally wrong? Because technically, black markets, the one that I have an issue with most. This loophole mentality that we have as Nigerians.
Okay.
So let me explain with this thing I was saying. So now I get to a fuel station and somebody is saying, bro, so I'm not a Lagos boy, but bro, so you go give us small something, we go open the door. Or you're on the queue and then there's this sudden opening and you drive and then you say, I'm smart.
Yes.
You get.
Yes.
But don't you think, isn't that corruption too?
It's corruption, if we're being honest. But let's be very realistic. In this age and time, it's always survival of the fittest, or what we call it. Everybody wants to be smart. They want to be the smart one. And most times when you call out little things like this amongst citizens, it's I beg, the main things are the people on top. All these ones doesn't matter. The main things are the people eating our money. But they don't know that these acts, these behaviors that you adapt, cutting fuel queues, wanting to pay somebody to get at the top of the line or first in the line, it is corruption. And so when you get to that top level, all those behaviors somehow transfer to you being in a position of power. So it starts from us, really. But let's not lie, it's not easy. Ola, what do you think?
You know why it's not easy? I was at the airport recently. Don't say it's Sakpa that is talking, damn me. Don't say it's Sakpa.
I'm listening now. Finish.
Don't say it's Sakpa.
Finish, please.
I was angry now. Because they paid business class and first class, they give them priority. And me that I'm in economy, they say, is it not the same thing? Can't jump in queue.
Why did you not pay for business class, Avik?
I can't afford it.
Oh, you can't, but they can. So I don't know. I feel like they deserve it or something.
I'm going to go and buy my own fuel station.
Please go and buy.
Yes, I'm going to buy the own fuel station.
I need to come and make me next of kin now, so that we can be enjoying the fuel money together.
I'll think about that. I'll think about that.
It's me.
I'll think about it. I'll definitely think about it. Yeah. So, anyways, that's just one of those things that I thought about, and I'm like, little things, little drops lead up into this huge ocean of corruption, and these are the kind of issues we want to address here. Exactly. Now, I want to make it very clear to our viewers, our listeners. I'll look at you guys. Is this where the camera is? I'll look at you guys. Please, we're not throwing stones. Nigeria is a glass house, if you get my drift. But at the same time, this is about accountability, transparency, right? We're all trying to learn to be better people. So, I think we'll get there eventually.
Yes, we will. Definitely.
Definitely we'll get there. Now, we're not going to be doing this alone today.
Yes.
And we have a surprise for people.
Yes, surprise.
But we're not going to talk about that now.
No.
We'll go on a short break. And when we're back,
yeah, our surprise will be out in the open.
I can't wait.
Stay tuned, fam.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. More importantly, before we go into the meat of the discussion, subscribe. Ethics Pod.
Yes, please.
Instagram.
YouTube. Follow us on our YouTube channel and also subscribe at ICPC Nigeria on YouTube.
We can't wait to see you.
Yes.
Comment. Tell us what you want to see and what you don't want to see. We're
Join us to build this community. What you don't want to see.
Now, I said it before we went for a short break that we're going to have a very interesting person. We have a very interesting person. He is here.
Yes, he's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are introducing our guests. Mr. Awal Musa Rafsanjani, you're welcome on Ethics Pod.
You're welcome,
Thank you.
sir.
It's a pleasure to have you here, sir.
Nice to be here.
Now, I don't want to, overburden people with your very heavy profile. It's heavy, but I'm just going to, I'm not going to point to some very interesting ones. Well, in 2024, I'm going to start with the one that will make you happy, Delectable Dami.
Yes, please.
Which is the fact that he is a strong advocate for women.
Wow.
And children.
Yes. That's very impressive.
He's also the executive director of CISLAC. He's also the chairman board of Amnesty International, and so on and so forth. More importantly, once again, welcome on our podcast.
Thank you very much.
Now, before we go too deep, Delectable Dami has a surprise for you.
Yes.
So
my surprises are always going to be wonderful. You would love it.
Wait.
Thank you for joining us on the
Thank
podcast, sir. Just so you know, we are giving Gen Z vibe. So you have to be as free as possible, which is why I have a very small surprise for you. So I'm just going to ask you like a question just to make you feel, yes, this is a Gen Z vibe, so give us that. So if you could have either free electricity or free data subscription for the rest of your life, which one would you pick? Free electricity or free data? You don't have to pay for internet at all for the rest of your life.
I think electricity is more important to have, than the data, because you can always find a way to get data.
Okay,
but we live in it. Okay.
Free electricity.
Free electricity.
Which one will you prefer?
I don't know. I think
Definitely,
I'll pick data.
I'll prefer electricity because darkness is not good. And,
You have a point.
Yes,
you have a point.
Solid point.
You win that hands down.
Yes,
hands down.
I think I'm going to have to side with him. I think electricity takes the front row, man, because you can't even use internet without electricity.
See, and later they will say, me, I'm the millennial.
You are the millennial.
Data is life. Data
you would seriously
life.
pick
data
data.
Is life, please. I'll press my phone in the darkness.
See why I'm always saying
my
that.
phone touch.
What if your phone goes off? Don't you need to charge your phone?
you need
Well,
to charge it.
We'll think
Exactly.
about it.
Okay.
Anyway, sir, it's obviously an honor having you here, but more importantly, you're here because of the wealth of experience you bring to this sector. Now, I'm going to start off with an easy one. How long have you been in anti-corruption advocacy?
Thank you very much. So, I've been in activism since my year one in the university, where I rose to be one of the executive member of the student union in Bayero University. And then the subsequent year, I rose to Assistant General Secretary of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS. I think that was 1991. And, in between those periods, I've been involved in the democratic organizations like Campaign for Democracy, Women in Nigeria. In fact, Women in Nigeria was the first organization that I belonged to when I was in the university. I also belong to Civil Liberties Organization. I also belong to CDHR, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. These are all organizations at that time during the military dictatorship that were fighting for the installment of democracy and democratic culture in Nigeria. And being a student activist, I was one of the student leaders both in my university and also at the national level, agitating and canvassing for the demilitarization of Nigeria. And also immediately after the school, I also continue my work as a development activist with an organization called CAP, Community Action for Popular Participation, in 1994-95 here in Abuja. And since then, I have continued to work with other organizations like Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. It was in 2005, 2005, that I noted that there was a huge deficit in the legislative engagement in the country. And then, I came up with an idea of why can't we have a platform that will ensure that we engage the legislature at the state and the national level so that Nigerians can actually ensure accountability in the legislative framework. So CISLAC was then born, and we got other, senior human rights and anti-corruption activists to be part of this process. People like, late Professor Momo, people like Wazediau, people like, Matthias and Cosmos, people like Inkoitoyo, Adize Kangiwa, and quite a number of activists, including even Ishola Williams, General Ishola Williams, who all of them inspire me to be really in this. And within this short period of time, CISLAC actually become one of the key organizations interfacing with the legislature and civil society as well as people. Currently, CISLAC is the national chapter of the Transparency International, and I head the Transparency International in Nigeria, in addition to other organizations that I head.
I'm going to stop you there because you're dropping so many gold nuggets on us, and I don't want us to, not speak about that. Now, Dami has a lot of questions for you, but just before she gets to you, I want to take you back to the very beginning of when you started speaking. You said something about you being involved in the leadership in school. In your experience, if you compare then and now, what has changed, if anything has? And with that, I'm speaking about morals and integrity amongst young people. And how does that develop into now? When you think about the girl who, after being elected the SUG president, has 50 essays, and everybody was like, you have 50 essays. So what has changed?
So there are a number of issues that have happened. What really, drastically differentiate between what, it used to be and currently now. So in those days, as a student activist, you're open to learning, you're open to being disciplined. Our senior comrades, when we do anything wrong, they correct us and we learn from them. It's like we been in the school. At every given time, we make sure that we do things that are morally upright, and also we do not do anything that is very disrespectful. So we respect our senior comrades. We also take instruction from them. We learn from them. Unfortunately, that is what is missing now with young people. The intolerance or the impatient to learn from their senior and to also respect them, to also draw the border, is part of the challenges that we have with some young people in Nigeria now. During our time, we give maximum respect and regard to our senior comrades. We learn from them. We take instruction. Now, young people, they don't want to take any instruction. They don't want to learn from anybody. And that is why there are a lot of challenges. Because if you think you are the boss of yourself, and there's a challenge, you need to learn. You need to understand how things happen and take correction also. So there's also disconnect between older generation of activists and comrades, because when we were in the school, we were in touch with the Nigerian Labour Congress. We were in touch with other democratic organizations like I mentioned to you, CLO, CDHR, CAP, and Women in Nigeria, and even MDA was very progressive, at that time. And all these other mass democratic organizations were all working toward ensuring that the country works not on the basis of ethnicity or religion or any of those sentiments that undermine our progress as a nation. When we were student activists and when we even came out from the university, we did not know all this. One of the greatest activists that motivated us, my first even director was an Igbo man, late Emaizazu, and other senior comrades like Chima Obani, Olis Abakoba, Femi Palana, Atari Jega, who was my classroom teacher, and all of them, they really, school us, and they brought us to be where we are today, because we have to, we are disciplined, we are, we take instruction, and we are ready to learn. But the impatient and the intolerance of the new set of generation is what is also creating some of these problems that made them to decide to be joining political violence, engaging in extremism, engaging in yahoo and other things. So I think we also have collective responsibility as maybe senior comrade or middle level comrade to see how we can contribute towards redirecting the minds of young people so that they don't see political looters as exemplary to follow. Right now, unfortunately, many Nigerian young people, the only thing they celebrate people who are looters, they celebrate people who run with impunity and recklessness. And that is why we are degenerating as a nation, because the large number of Nigerians are young people and they don't see people with integrity. There's a huge integrity deficit in this country. So the only thing, you are given appointment at local government, at state, at national level, people are waiting for you to do monumental fraud so that you steal the one that you don't even need, for the rest of your life and even your family. And you even take it out of the country where you don't even have access or control of the money you have taken, depriving your people from development.
Let the resident Gen Z.
Yes, please. I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for the younger generation.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Based off what you said, but do you think and believe that there are still youths, there are still young people in this generation who are still flying the banner high, who are still carrying on that integrity, that transparency that was during your time? Do you think that there are still youths like that in this age and time?
You cannot completely dismiss the fact that there are still, young people who, either through their parents or through their elders, they still emulate those good things and they still practice it. We have a lot of young people that are focused. They are not into drugs, they are not into porn, they are not into robbery, they are not into any criminality. They actually excel. We have a lot of young people who are chief executive at less than 30. So we still have very, good set of young people that are doing the right thing in the country. It's just that the political elite in the country have created an image or a wrong, impression that the only way you can make it is when you are crooks, criminal, political, criminal. Then that's how you can make it. But I believe that a lot of young Nigerians, when they are given proper orientation, when they are given the option to see the negative and the positive of life, I'm sure we'll be able to get them. So which means that we have to really get our National Orientation Agency to do a lot more in terms of behavioral change. We need to get also anti-corruption agencies to begin to engage young people in the school, in fact, where possible, from primary to secondary school, because the trouble began when someone is already out of secondary school. When you get to the university, you develop some kind of matured mind, but you need to, at the secondary school level, be able to get the right steps to take. When we were young, we were aspiring to be either a doctor or engineer, something like that. But go and see young people, they just want to follow looters, because this is the wrong impression that Nigerian elite have created in the minds of young people, that you can only be celebrated when you are a crook, when you are a criminal, when you are a useless person. We have to change that.
Now, this is a very important part, and it's bringing me into what I'm going to ask you next. Now, in the last couple of days, I mean, I don't know if, Dami, I'm sure you, I know he definitely reads the papers. There's been this funny story going on about ghost workers. You know, this person is not employed. This is not a new phenomenon. I mean, I've heard about it, and I want you to, in your experience, touch on that topic. Have you encountered an issue like that before? Has one of the organizations you represented or headed dealt with a situation like that before? But before you answer that, first tell us what you think ghost workers are.
So I think ghost workers are faceless people that some public official arrange in order to be siphoning public taxpayers' money. Recently, you have had a case of a Nigerian in the UK who had migrated and living in the UK, but he is still collecting salary.
Wow.
So you have a lot of them at local government level, at state level. They arrange all these faceless people, and they are taking the money to share. This is because of the absence of accountability and collapse of our institutions. Because if our institutions are working, there's no way you can have that kind of thing. And the secrecy that is embedding in our institution is what is giving this thing. If you go to an office, you want to know how many number of staff are here, you will see a big mark, secret. So you cannot actually get anything. Everything is secret because of the chachua that they do. If we adopt technology, we would have seen these are the number of workers we have, these are their department, and this is what they do, and this is their identity. But because those corrupt people, they do not want technology to work in Nigeria, they undermine it, they sabotage it. So ghost workers are more of an official adoption of some corrupt public official to be used for their own personal aggrandizement. Nothing more than that. So we, as an organization, we always receive complaints from many Nigerians who are victims of corruption or who are victims of human rights abuses, and some of these issues always come to us. But because we are an NGO, we didn't have enforcement power. We can only work with the relevant government agencies. For example, CISLAC is signed MOU with the EFCC, ICPC, Nigerian Police, Human Rights Commission, and Code of Conduct. So whenever we receive complaint from Nigerians, because many Nigerians are afraid to go to either police station or to go to court because of extortion, because of corruption in those places. So they would rather, leave the matter, and those that are able to come with fact and evidence, we could check, and when we have an issue that is genuine, we investigate and get ICPC or EFCC or Nigerian Police to resolve those things. As I speak to you, we have received over 150 cases, and more than half of those cases have been resolved without going to police station, without going to court, and this is free of charge. Nobody is asked to pay a dime. All we want, come with the truth, come with evidence to back up your case so that we can investigate and get EFCC, we get ICPC, we get the Nigerian Police, we get the Human Rights Commission, depending on the nature of the case, to carry out, investigation and resolve those issues, because they are sitting in a steering committee that we have. So it's easy to follow up with ICPC, to follow up with the police, to follow up with EFCC, and your issues will be resolved. So I think we need to revitalize the integrity of our institutions so that Nigerians can still believe in our institutions and our system. As it is now, everything you are doing in this country is like you have to settle somebody. So even security, it may interest you, even security agents, when they are looking for promotion, which they are due for, if they do not do anything, they may not get anywhere. If they die in the course of the work they are doing, their family, to get their entitlement, they have to pay a bribe within the the system. So we need to do a lot to begin to make Nigerians to feel that this country is theirs and that everyone can actually get what he or she deserves without getting into bribe or even to get recruited. Are you aware that to get recruited in any of the government thing now, you have to simply pay a bribe? To get the form, you have to pay a bribe. If you are trained after the training to be posted, because they say they are looking for lucrative places, you have to pay a bribe. So everything is centered around bribe. Getting appointment is bribe. To get into election, you have to bribe the party official to be allowed to come in, not on the basis of the popular mandate or popular support that you have from the party members, but on the basis of how much you are able to pay the party official. If you come to the election, winning your election, it has nothing to do with the popular vote. It has to do with how much bribe now you are able to pay security, you are able to pay INEC official, you are able to pay judiciary, so that you can be declared even if you have not won the election. So it's a whole vicious cycle of extortion that is not helping us, because the more you continue to do this, the more you create lack of confidence in these institutions. And any country that its citizens have no confidence in its administrative justice system, then there's a problem. Any country that its citizens have no faith in its ability of its institutions to work in a manner that you can simply apply for passport or driving license without anybody asking you for bribe. It's a case. As I speak to you right now, there is somebody who is adopting a child. After following all the due process, virtually every desk from one department to another, you have to pay a bribe. So it is not helping us. It is making us look a very laughable country. And because of this corruption, that's why money will be budgeted for security in this country, and the money will be looted. Nigeria has spent, in the last 10 years, a lot of billions of naira to equip and support our security system. But the more you spend more money in the security sector, the more insecurity happens in the country. So can't continue this way.
Okay, so sorry. I wanted to ask, based on the effects you've been listing, that in what ways do you think, you've talked about ghost workers and what they are, and you just talked about the impact of corruption on our economy. So can you tell us, ghost workers precisely, how do you think that the presence of these concepts affects the economy of Nigeria?
It is affecting. It is drilling the revenue. When you, in a particular agency, when you are supposed to have 100 workers, and then somebody inflated the figure to 300 figures, definitely it will deplete the resources that will be used to do what is needed to be done. So it's affecting the development. It is affecting the progress of those agencies and the government generally. So it is not something that is worthy of emulating. It is something that is actually undermining the development of our country, and we cannot continue this way. So ghost workers can actually be eliminated if there's a political will. You can actually, get them out of the whether calendar or enrollment, because we know in this agency we're supposed to have maximum of 100 people. How comes we are paying salary of 300 people? Who are the people responsible for that? So because corruption in Nigeria is not done by one person, it's a network of crooks and criminals that happen. So the people in HR, the people in the finance, the permanent secretary, even the minister or the overall head of that agency, they should come and answer, when did you do the recruitment? Where are the evidence that you have done this recruitment and you recruited these people? And where is their schedule? Where is their employment letter? Where is the identification? Who is supervising them? It's very easy to detect. But because there's a lose money in the country, this ghost worker cannot happen in the private agency. For example, in this studio, there's no way you can have ghost workers.
True.
Because you're going to pay their salary, you're going to pay their medical, you're going to do all sorts of things, and they will carry your identity. So definitely you know how many people are working here, and there's no way people that are not staff of this place will claim that they are here and be collecting salary.
So I'm going to ask you a question now, and this has to do with the practicality of stopping not just ghost workers but corruption. You are obviously more experienced than we are, right? And we also want you to enlighten the people that are watching and listening. In a scenario where I am in the system, I am not the one that wants the ghost worker to be there. My boss wants it. What is your advice to such a person? How does he go, or he or she go about it in such a way that I want to see something and say something, but I don't want to lose my job?
So this is very simple, and ICPC has actually solved this problem long ago by coming up with Act 2. Every public office in Nigeria, ICPC has set up Act 2, and this Act 2 guys, they help to report corruption, they help to ensure sanity in the agency, even though some of them they pay dearly, because I recall in the early days of Act 2, some of the Act 2 guys in NNPC, one of them was even killed. And when Ikanjoala was in the Ministry of Finance, we worked with her to have what we call hotline. So even though it was limited to Ministry of Finance at that time, to begin to report or get a report of people who are asking for bribe, and we process this information. It's anonymous and sent to them to take necessary action. So all I am going to say is that if ICPC can strengthen the Act 2 and give those guys a kind of some level of power and protection, because part of the problem that we have in Nigeria, a lot of Nigerians are scared, because if you raise the alarm and those people, they have the listening ear of the leadership there, you'll be left alone. So that is why
has that ever happened to you? Have you ever been threatened, or has it ever happened to you?
Well, for me, I don't work in government, but we receive a lot of complaints from people working in government who have not compromised and they are being victimized. We've got a lot of those, complaints. But all I'm saying now is that if we can actually ensure whistleblowing protection in this country, then people can blow the whistle and get protected. What is going on now is that you blow the whistle, you get victimized, nobody rescue you, lose your job, you are being threatened. So double victimization. So in order to encourage Nigerians to come out and speak against some of these, practices, there must be some kind of assurances from, people who will want to blow this whistle, so that when they blow the whistle, they are not victimized or their life is not taken, away from them. So if the government, is willing and interested to do this, we should be able to have a legal framework on whistleblowing. Because without this whistleblowing, I can assure you that many people will keep quiet when they see wrong thing happening. Secondly, because of the collapse of also integrity and because of the collapse of fear of God, Nigerians, they always want to talk about going to church, going to mosques, but it's all lie. In many instances, because you go to these religious places, you come out and loot billions that is meant for people, medicine, for education, and then you say you are going to pray. Which prayer? So I think, this deceptive of religiosity that you have in Nigeria should actually stop. Other countries, they develop without this fake religious sin. Look at Malaysia, look at Indonesia, look at Japan, look at China, look at all of these countries. Nobody is doing what we are doing. Nigerians will go to places in Africa instead of setting up businesses, they are setting up religious worshipping, because it is another avenue of looting. I mean, making money. So you are using God for making money, and you claim that you are a man of God or you are a woman of God. I think we need to change this deceptive way and focus on things that has integrity, that has a national development, because most of these people, you see, even their lifestyle, it has nothing to do with what they are even preaching. It's completely against even what they are preaching.
And I'm sure there are no ghost workers in religious.
They know everyone who contributes. In fact, they will tax you. In fact, if they see that the sin is not come, they will even follow up with you. So you will not see any ghost worker in that place. It is the government, because some Nigerians have a wrong attitude that anything government is just for loot, for waste. That's why you see public institutions in the country. If you have a toilet here as a government official, office, you will see that there will not be maintenance of that place, because everything government, they have to just make it, they want to mess it. But go to your private office, you will not see those kind of things. You see everything neat and clean. But this attitude of always taking public institutions and public properties as something to loot or something to waste has to change.
All right, sir. So I'm still talking about corruption, integrity. Honestly speaking, you won't. I don't know if you would agree with me, but living an integrity-based life, would you say that it is easy? Would you say that it is something that is very easy to do? Before I go into my question,
I can assure you that there's a value in keeping yourself within the compound of integrity and honesty. When people, they know that you are honest, you are not a chua person. Even the corrupt people, they will be scared to even come to you. But if they know that you can do deal, they will come. Yes. They will come near you. But when they know that, oh, this guy is not that kind of person who do all this chua thing. So I think there's a honor, in actually trying to keep yourself away from those things that will undermine your integrity, that will create doubt on people about your personality. I believe that if Nigerians are able to exemplify themselves in that manner, they have nothing to worry, they have nothing to fear, But if you are one of those people who will compromise, who will do the deal, then they will always ban you. But in this office, if they know that you are no nonsense, they will even, in fact, they will be gossiping, oh, that one, don't go near him or don't go near her. But when they know that you are easy
open to
of course, then you see, they will just do the deal with you.
Okay, sir. So, as an influential person in your field and in your space and generally, have you ever been in a case where you've been tempted to influence employment for somebody? We're still talking about ghost workers, about employment, or maybe due to your influence, somebody has been given employment, not necessarily because of qualification, but just influence from you.
So if as somebody who has established an organization like CISLAC, which hires a lot of people, both local and international, with also presence in the US and the UK, I did not influence bringing anybody either from Kano, where I come from, or from my blood relation. Then with the fact that I also head Amnesty International, that I have never influenced anybody employment, with the fact that I head Transition Monitoring Group, TMG, which is the biggest coalition of election observation in Nigeria, if I did not influence anybody coming, I wonder how I will go and influence employment of anybody in government. In fact, I always appeal to people who come to me to say, please help us, either with NYSC posting, either with the job. I say, I can help you in other way, but asking to go and do this, please spare me, because the only reason why I survived today is because I've stayed away from all this. So today, nobody, either from the National Assembly, State House of Assembly, from the executive, that he has ever done one single favor to me. But I can tell you that we have, through the work we are doing, we have done a lot of favor to so many people, including ministers, including senators, House of Rep members, and what have you. In fact, numerous favors, But for me to go and ask for payroll, I will never do that, because I know once I do that, I've compromised the work that I'm doing, and I will not be able to close my eyes and do what I'm doing. Today, I don't have a driver. I don't have any security man. I drive myself and I move and talk whatever I want to say, and I'm not scared of anybody.
What influenced decisions like not having a driver
for someone like you?
Security?
Well, first and foremost, I'm not dismissing the fact that this need to have a driver, because sometimes I find it very challenging to go to meetings, and I have to be looking for where to park and stuff like that, And then also was my little challenge on my leg after I had accident. Definitely, I would have loved to have a relief. But for me, I think whatever I can do, I will do. I don't need those luxury things. Anything that is luxury is not necessary. Anything that I can do by myself, I will be happy to do it by myself. And therefore, for me, honestly speaking, the way I see some people, even move with policemen, you can imagine they produce
the
our
soft life. We want this layer of the soft life.
Some people have reduced our policemen to carrying bags, carrying food. Look, very, very embarrassing to see that police officers are now carrying bags and papers for some people, including Yahoo. You go to clubs, you see policemen following Yahoo people. It's so disappointing. And we've been calling on the Inspector General of Police to help redeem the integrity of Nigerian police. Because you cannot assign, police to people who are suspicious, to people who are even under investigation. So once you have small change, instead for you to go and recruit and hire private security, you will now carry, Nigerian police. When we are complaining that we do not have many of the police, that are supposed to be, in the country. So I think we need to do a lot to change the way we do in this country, to get out of this corruption, and to be able to have the necessary integrity that we are looking for. Otherwise, if we continue the way we are, there's no way this country can function. If you like, you can stop protests, but as long as injustice, as long as corruption, as long as insecurity, as long as poverty, collapse of our institutions, hunger, if this continue, there's no way you can stop any protest. If people did not even come out, in their mind they will be angry.
and speaking of some of the things that some of the organizations you've worked on have done for people, I was at an event very recently where there was an intervarsity debate, and I think it was at the ICPC, and you were present, and I know some of the people that were at that debate are going to see this, and I seem to remember that one of your organizations, I'm not sure which, said they were going to support some students with something. So can I hold you to that?
Yes. Well, the reason why I decided to say that I want to support those students that participated in the debate is because I just want to encourage more younger people to see value in running a very transparent way of life. You do not need to be crooks or criminal to make it. My parents they did not have Western education, and today, by the grace of God, there are very few places I have not gone in this world. And I go to where even those big men and women are not able to go. I interact at the higher level, at global level, courtesy of education. That is why I want our young people to understand, even if you are a son or a daughter of a poor person, make sure that you pursue education, because education can uplift you from poverty, can actually take you to the highest level. So we need to encourage young people to see the value of also being honest. So that is why I decided to say that even those who did not win the debate, they should also go with something to encourage them, so that they can continue to remain upright, they can continue to be in the side of being sincere and honest, citizen. So that's why I made that contribution to say that I want to support those young people who may probably not win the debate. In addition to other students who won the prizes, but we are also looking at those who did not win.
That's great.
Okay.
So to wrap up, we were having a discussion when we were doing the research. So what do you do when you want to relax?
Very important.
We were just going through your profile.
As it was so serious.
This and that. What do you actually have downtime? And what
To relax. What do you do to relax or unwind?
So to be honest to you, heading an organization like CISLAC, heading an organization like Amnesty International, heading an organization like Transparency International, heading an organization like Transition Monitoring Group, heading an organization like Zero Corruption.
You don't relax.
Definitely, you are
no time for
every now and then
relaxation.
engaged, because journalists, as we are seated here just in this place, I spoke to journalists. Every now and then, journalists, they will call for, one question or the other. Students who are researching in the university, whether abroad or in Nigeria, they always also call for, their dissertation.
But sir, we are not accepting this answer. And before it
so
got
the thing
busy.
is that it is actually consuming, but the good thing is that there's a pleasure, there's a joy in what I do. It's a passion. I have this passion, like I mentioned to you, right from when I was in the university, to ensure that we emulate the right people. Let Americano was a someone that right from young we emulated, because they fought injustice, they fought all sort of bad thing, and they become my mirror. At the university level, people like Professor Jiga, who at the time he was ASU chair, they fought for injustice, and of course people like Olisa Bakoba, people like Emma, people like Chima Obani, people like even John Oda in the trade union. They are all people that we emulate. We were not emulating those looters. We are emulating people who are contributing, for human rights, or for justice, or for transparency and accountability in the country. And that's what I want people to see. And secondly, it is important to remain consistent. If you are doing this work, there's a test, there's a temptation. By the grace of God, there are very few people that I can say I want to see, and I will not see them. But I also stay away, because the more you begin to wine and dine with them, the more you are not able to say the truth, the more you are not able to speak your mind. So it is important sometimes you draw the line and sustain this work with integrity, so that you do not get the younger one to lose hope and confidence that, look, these people are wasting their time, they didn't get opportunity. Once they get opportunity, they also join. I want to remain consistent to the end of my life, so that younger generation can see value, can see someone who is also consistent, who has not changed for anything. So this is what I want to leave as my legacy, so that we create hope on younger ones, that it is not everybody who you offer him or her something that can just change. And I would have loved to stay. I mean, we would love to stay and chat more. My producer has been doing like this since.
I'm tired.
And I don't have transfer, I don't have fuel. I don't want my producer to leave me. So it's been an amazing time. We are honored to have you. Viewers and listeners, I hope you guys have learned so much from what Mr. Rafsanjani has to say. Do ensure that you subscribe once again. You can also, follow up, read up on CISLAC, read up on Amnesty International, read up on so many of these good things we've spoken about, and make sure that you ensure that you live right. What do you have to say?
Yeah, definitely. We're building this community to just make youths and younger generation more involved in the fight against corruption. So it is important that you live an ethical life, and that is why we are here. So feel free to join the community. Don't forget, subscribe on our YouTube channel at ICPC Nigeria. Also do well to follow us on Instagram at EthicsPod.
Yes. So like Dami, me now, I'm not going to give anybody money to jump queue again in fuel. I'll go and queue at the back.
Are you sure?
And if I can't get
Are you
food, I
sure?
won't go to work. That's the very simple.
Producer is hearing that though.
Well, viewers and listeners, until next time, no lose guard.
It's all about the legit life.
It's all about the legit life.
See you all on our next
out.
episode.
Bye.
Bye.